All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
When the world grows quiet and the daylight fades, we drift through the doorway that the moonlight made. Beyond every memory, beyond every fear, dreams paint a picture that only we can hear. They carry our questions on rivers of light, sailing through shadows in the middle of the night. A whisper from tomorrow, a lesson from the past, a fleeting constellation that was never meant to last. Dreams are the lanterns in the dark of the soul, guiding us gently where we're meant to go. Like a compass in the ocean, like a star in the sky, they teach us how to walk, they teach us how to fly. Dreams are the language of the heart set free, the bridge between what is and what could someday be. Some say dreams are memories, our minds rearrange pieces of a puzzle, forever set to change. Others say they're messages carried on the wind, opening hidden doors deep within. A mountain may appear where a challenge must be climbed, a winding road reminding us to trust the hands of time. A river is emotion flowing wild and true, and every flying moment says there's more that we can do. Dreams are the lanterns in the dark of the soul, guiding us gently where we're meant to go. Like a compass in the ocean, like a star in the sky, they teach us how to walk, they teach us how to fly. Dreams are are life's reminders of hope, faith, and love.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we'll cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And we come to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. until midnight, right here on the CanCom Broadcast Network, and streaming us at Classic 1220 CFAJ AM right here in St. Catharines at classic1220.ca. Well, my guest this hour is a young lady who is one of the most respected and insightful voices in the world of the paranormal research and supernatural studies. Nicole Strickland is an accomplished investigator, best-selling author, researcher, lecturer, and a leading authority on some of the most active haunted locations in North America, including the legendary RMS Queen Mary. With years of experience documenting spirit phenomenon, helping families understand the unexplained, and bringing professionalism to a field often clouded by myth, Nicole's work bridges science, intuition, and deep compassion. Tonight, we explore her experiences, her investigations, and her insights into the mysterious world of the paranormal. Joining me now from San Diego, California, is my good friend Nicole Strickland. And Nicole, welcome back to the X Zone.
Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have a frog in my throat here. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. And, you're supposed to eat just the legs, not the entire frog.
I've never tried one, I swear.
I've got to tell you, they're really good.
I've heard that. I heard they taste like chicken. Maybe one day I'll get the nerve and
awful small chicken, but they do taste like chicken, especially done in garlic.
Ooh, now that sounds good. Everything with garlic is good.
So what's new, thrilling, and exciting with you in the world of ghost hauntings and things that go bump in the night, not to mention the RMS Queen Mary?
Yeah, well, first of all, this year is flying by faster than previous years. We were just talking about that yesterday because I went to the Queen Mary yesterday, had lunch with some good friends and Captain James there and the first officers, Danny and Paul. Really great. We had brunch, the Royal Sunday brunch in the Grand Salon. It was actually ranked. I think they just recently got an award as one of the best brunches in North America. But I believe I read an article from, I think it's Condé Nast magazine, that it's, I guess they rated it the best in the world. So it's fabulous. So I spent a day there and it was great. I talked so much yesterday that my voice is kind of hoarse today. So I apologize about that.
It's all right. First of all, you blame a frog and now you're blaming a horse.
See, I know. I just, I'm blaming everything here. You know what I'm saying? Jeez, gosh.
For the listeners who may not have had the opportunity of hearing you before here on the X Zone, what first inspired you to pursue the field of the paranormal and, do the investigations that you do?
Yeah, interesting question. I like to answer this by saying that I feel, and this might sound a little hokey to some people, I get it, but I feel it was almost like in my destiny, so to speak. I've had so many experiences since I was a young child. We're talking 4 and 5 years old that I couldn't experience. And I've always been like, I think we all are, but some people are just a little bit more tapped into it. I've always been very sensitive and interested in spirit communication, haunted history in general, ghost research, you have it. And so that interest stayed with me as I grew up. And I would be one of these that would read books on it, watch, television shows like Unsolved Mysteries, things like that. And then I had, like I share so many times, such a profound experience with the spirit of my maternal grandmother. And that really got me sort of out of the lab, so to speak, and really into the world of investigating the paranormal. Well, so that's how it all started. And really the rest is history. But just over the years, I've been actively in the field now for about like 21 years, I would say. And so it's been just awesome. So much learning. You have it. It's amazing, really amazing journey.
Nicole, what was it like the first time you realized that you were actually able to communicate with those who had departed this plane and now were on the other side?
Right. That's so interesting because I think I didn't when I was younger, I would do it and I would be sensitive to it, but I wasn't really aware of it. I became more aware of it as I actually started actively researching the paranormal, investigating different places. And I think with that, that helped nurture and foster my own senses, the clairvoyance, the clairsentience, the clairaudience, you have it. I think those abilities just fostered from just being involved, and now to the point where I'm definitely more aware and cognizant of encounters that I have, and some are just so amazingly beautiful. I really credit synchronicity and even dream visitations for being two of the main gateways, in my opinion, to really communicating with the other side.
Besides the communication that you had with your grandmother, in your opinion, what was the most beautiful communication you had?
With her, just in general.
In general.
Oh, that's hard to. Gosh, I've had so many with departed loved ones, animals, friends, just in places that I've investigated that obviously I didn't know in life, but just really profound encounters. One that I would like to share are these dream visitations. Now, I'm not talking about regular dreams, but actual dream visits with my cat, Kaylee, who I adopted in 2003 with her brother, Max. She passed away in 2021. And ever since, I've had about now 28 very profound dream visitations. And I never would have even believed that this was even possible, but yet it is.
Nicole, I'm going to have to interrupt you here, and I'm sorry
Sure.
about this.
No,
We're going to have
that's
a bit
fine.
of a cliffhanger when we come back. This fascinating story from our guest this hour, Nicole Strickland. Now, Exo Nation, if you'd like to contact Nicole, visit her website, her books, find out more about this very interesting young lady, visit www.nicolestrickland.com. And Nicole and I will be back. I'm sorry, it's NicoleDStrickland.com. Am I correct, Nicole?
Yeah, that's it. I have to just throw a D in there and confuse everyone,
Thanks very much. First of all, it was the frog, then it was the horse, and then yours truly. We'll be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues on the CanCon Broadcast Network and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca.
Guiding us gently where we're meant to go, like a compass in the ocean, like a star in the sky. They teach us how to walk, they teach us how to fly. There's a voice beyond the silence, a whisper on the wind, a light beyond the darkness where every journey begins. Some say goodbye forever, some say the story ends, but Mark hears another message from the love that transcends. Between the stars and memories beyond what eyes can see, there's a signal filled with wonder calling out to you and me. Tune into the afterlife frequency where love survives eternity. Every heartbeat, every soul, every story still unfolds across the veil through time and space. We are never far away on the afterlife frequency. Love lives on endlessly.
Nicole Strickland's our guest of this hour, Exo Nation. And Nicole, please continue with your story.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'll try to paraphrase this. So my beautiful cat, Kaylee, who I was extremely close, and I should say am extremely close with, as well as her brother Max. She passed away in 2019 after she was about 18 and a half years. And so this started about 2 nights after her passing and has continued, not every night, but like I said before break, it's been about 28 of these now so far.
Wow.
Very compelling, detailed dream visitations. And when I wake up, you just know it's a visitation. You wake up with that all-encompassing love and peace, that you've made a connection. And so what's interesting about these is that they're always in the same environment. So they occur in my bedroom as I'm really sleeping. So I'm laying in bed as I really am, right? And so I will hear, usually it starts where I'll hear or feel the footprints jump on my bed, and then I'll say to myself in the dream visitation, it's happening again. Then I see her. I sometimes can pick her up. I can feel her purring sometimes. Sometimes she'll meow. Like I said, I can see her, feel her walk around, and it's always in the same environment as I'm actually sleeping. So I have a theory that, and I'm not sure exactly, maybe some other listeners can chime in, that I feel that perhaps my astral self is able to maybe meet her somewhat in the middle, because there have been moments where in the dream, I can move my arms, but I don't know if cameras will actually capture me doing that. But I have purchased cameras now because I'm trying to see if I'm treating this like a study. I'm seeing if I can capture any images of her or just images of me moving, but I was able to capture audio. And this is what blew me away. This happened about 3 weeks ago. And this occurred while I was asleep having the dream visitation. And there was audio captured where you hear Kaylee's meow, but you hear me talking to her in the dream visitation. I'm saying, Kaylee, Kaylee, and I'm talking to her. And I'm actually doing that in the dream visitation. But audio is captured of that as well as her meow. And so that is really, it's just so... it's verifying to me that there's something really beautiful going on.
Would you say that the experience you had outside of your dream, being your dream more or less a lucid dream? Can we look at it as a lucid dream? And where you're actually communicating with your cat, and you're actually getting an EVP of your cat?
Yes.
Man, that is I've never heard of that before.
Right. And I actually the other day had another visitation. This was I think about 5 days ago, and I'm journaling this. I'm actually treating this now like a study. So I'm journaling, I'm taking notes and everything. Now, there wasn't audio necessarily of her meowing like the other one, but again, there was audio of me talking to her, and I was saying, Kaylee, Kaylee. And I remember in the dream visitation also saying her name. So, this is just, I want to try to look at it and try to find all the answers of how this is happening, but sometimes we just don't know the how, right? But it's something definitely very compelling. It really answers a lot. It really does for me.
Well, the research that you're doing on your own is proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that life goes on after death.
Isn't that, I know. And not just with that, I mean, just with so many experiences. And it's just, that's the reason why I'm in this field, to understand, to learn. But I feel, and I keep saying I feel, I'm repeating myself there,
right.
But I believe that, at least for me, that studying the paranormal, being an experiencer of it, it almost, it makes an individual more tapped into their own soul and their own purpose. And so that's one of the great reasons why I'm in the field, and of course helping people, Do
you think there'll come a time when those on the other side of the veil will figure out a way on how to cross the veil into our reality, and that we'll be able to have visits just like if we're going down the street to visit our neighbor?
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Oh, yes.
Wouldn't that be lovely? That would be the day. It
Yeah.
really, that'd be amazing.
You've investigated countless haunted locations.
Yes.
I mean, besides the RMS Queen Mary, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Oh, sure. Of course.
Of course, do any stand out as particularly compelling or unforgettable?
Yeah, for me, every case is a learning experience, and there's always an experience or, way of doing something that, teaches you, gives you a little bit more insight. The ones where I can connect with, like, especially like with private residences, and I haven't done some in the last few years, but a couple of the ones that we did, we were able to connect with that client's departed loved one. And so while capturing audio evidence, for example, we would share that. We wouldn't, power of suggest the client, say, oh, well, we think we caught your husband, for example. We would just say, we want you to listen to this.
Right.
And both times that on these two particular investigations, when we did that, the tears flow.
Oh, gosh.
You can tell by their reaction that, oh my God, yeah. And they've said, like, for example, one lady was like, yeah, nope, that's my husband. That's him. So it's those types of experiences, I think, that are really, really compelling. And just getting, in terms of evidence, I find cases are interesting when there's experiences, when someone has an intuitive inclination backed up maybe by an experience or vice versa. And then also there's some sort of capture, whether it's a photo or whether it's an audio capture. Those, to me, when you can connect the pieces of the puzzle a little bit more, it's just more profound.
So how do you prepare mentally and emotionally before you enter a location, knowing that there's a chance that this is going to be exciting? It's also maybe very emotional for you.
That's very true, especially with people that are, very sensitive and operate in using their senses. That's very true. And some people like to go in blind and not know really about the history. I'm one of these that likes to go in knowing about the history, because I really think history is a huge foundation for why we even have paranormal phenomena. It's like the past kind of connecting with us in the present, so to speak. But I always tell people, at least for me, I don't do any sort of work if I'm like sleep deprived or exhausted, or if I'm sick or anything like that. I like to feel myself, be well physically, emotionally, spiritually. So, but mental preparation, spiritual preparation, that's basically it. I will center myself. We usually do that individually, and then obviously as a group as well. We'll have like a statement of intent that kind of lets the energies know where we're coming from. And so just make sure you're rested and you have good protein in your system and things like that. But I guess it's different with each investigation, because if you're going into a new site, as opposed to like myself going into the Queen Mary, which is that I know deeply, that's a little different too. But either way, no matter if you're familiar with the site or not, always have that preparation.
When you're doing an investigation and during the investigation you come across a child, does that play on your emotions more than an adult would?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And some people may say, well, no, that the child, maybe it's someone mimicking a child, this or that. In rare cases, maybe, but at least in my experience, at different locations, historical, business, private homes, it does, because you want children to live out their lives and everything. We actually, it's interesting. I was actually on an episode of, what was that called? My Ghost Story Caught on Camera in San Diego for the William Heath Davis House, now known as the Davis Horton House. And it's actually recorded. You will hear me saying something like to the effect of, whenever it's a child, it always tugs on your heartstrings a little bit. And I don't believe some people believe in spirit rescue, that they can definitely, without a doubt, make an entity go home. go to the light, so to speak. We can be facilitators, in my opinion, but it's really up to that entity and that energy to go, whether he or she wants to. But when that does, that can be very helpful. So in the case of children, that might be something to do, but it has to be done with heart and soul, not with ego and all this other stuff.
Why would a spirit want to stay behind and not go to the light?
I believe there are so many different reasons. You could have 100 of them all lined up and they might all give you a different reason. But some of the salient ones that we talk about, perhaps, maybe in the case of earthbounds or ghosts, so to speak, maybe they don't know they've passed on and they're repeating their moments. Maybe it's the grieving family that is calling them a little bit. Could it be that they don't want to leave the location they were in? Maybe they're attracted to an antique item. I mean, the list is endless. You hear that word, unfinished business, that phrase a lot. So,
and I also would imagine that the family could actually keep the spirit from crossing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Absolutely.
All right, my friend, please stand by. You and I have to take our break at the bottom of the hour. X-Zone Nation, Nicole Strickland is our special guest. And if you'd like to find out more about Nicole, visit her website at NicoleDStrickland.com. And on Facebook, facebook.com/Nicole D. Strickland. This is the X-Zone. I'm Rob McConnell. We're coming to you on the CanCom Broadcast Network. And streaming us around the world is our good friends at Classic 1220 CFAJ AM. And they stream us at classic1220.ca. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Light beyond the darkness where every journey begins. Some say goodbye forever, some say the story ends. But Mark hears another message from the love that transcends. Between the stars and memories beyond what eyes can see, there's a signal filled with wonder calling out to you and me. Tune into the afterlife frequency where love survives eternity. Every in a house of dragons and candlelight, two dreamers dance through the endless night. Oberon called to the ancient skies. Morning glory saw truth in their eyes. From the forest deep to the ocean foam, they built a world and they made it home. With books of magic and hearts untamed, changing the world in the old God's name. Oh, Oberon, wizard of the silver flame, morning glory calling nature's sacred name. Through the mists of Avalon they ride, with the unicorn spirit by their side. Dreamers of a world reborn, children of the stars in storm, holding high the torch of the free, guardians of eternal mystery.
Nicole Strickland is our special guest. Once again, X-Zone Nation, if you'd like to find out more about Nicole, visit her website, NicoleDStrickland.com, and on Facebook, /Nicole D. Strickland. All right, Nicole, let's talk about my favorite topic whenever I have the pleasure of speaking with you, and that's the RMS Queen Mary. As I was saying, last night my wife and I were watching, what's it called, 90 Day Fiancé.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, this lady who was from Brazil, her boyfriend lives in California someplace, and they were looking for a place to get married. And the young lady loves ghosts and things
Of
that go bum the
course.
night.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, there they were getting onto the Queen Mary, and there was the captain that you know.
Yes,
And
Captain
I said to my
James.
wife, I said, hey,
Yeah.
Nicole's going to be on the show tomorrow night.
Oh,
Well,
see, isn't that synchronous? Yeah, I just had lunch. I was telling you before we went on.
mhm.
I just had lunch yesterday with Captain James and then first officers Paul and Danny as well. And so the three of them, as well as the entire crew, are just doing so many amazing things. But yeah, just he's awesome. They all are awesome, but yeah, he's fabulous.
I guess you don't get this question asked very often, if ever. If the ship is moored permanently,
Mhm.
what does a captain of a ship do on a moored ship?
Well, it's you have to look at it more kind of like symbolically,
Okay.
right? Now, obviously last year they do have functions, don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
It is continuing the Cunard tradition now, of course. I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here. Up until 1947, it was the Cunard White Star Line because those two companies had to merge in order to help the Queen Mary continue on with building due to the Great Depression. So in order to fund the rest of it, they had to merge. That's a whole thing, whole historical thing. That merger lasted until 1949, and then after that, it became the Cunard, obviously the Cunard line. So they all are still continuing that tradition of excellence. But we just lost last year honorary Commodore Everett Horde, who has been with the ship. Oh gosh, I think he was like I think around 9 years old
My
when
goodness.
he came on board as a boy and then worked in the retail stores and had
Hmm.
different roles and then has been Commodore for quite a year now. Cunard and has actually there's really no more Commodores, it's just captains. But Captain James, he does a lot of his role as well as even the roles of the first officers or liaisons between other departments. They attend special events. They're all he. I'm speaking of Captain James. He can officiate weddings. So there's a lot of different roles that he's responsible for. Him and Paul, they do the VIP tour, which is an extensive tour aboard the ship. So really the making a presence for passengers, being there, kind of like a PR role, so to speak, the face of the Queen Mary, if you look at it that way.
Where did your love for the RMS Queen Mary come from?
Again, it's one of those things. I think she called me like she does so many other people. I first glimpsed her from the backseat of a car, and this was in the year 2000.
Hmm.
Now, I had known about the ship, but I had not yet visited it. So I first saw her in 2000, in the year 2000, on a way to a cruise, and there's the Carnival cruise port right next to the ship. So I was heading on a Carnival ship for a 3-day cruise. And I remember looking at the Queen Mary and I made a mental note, I will be back there someday. That day came in 2005. I try to talk about this in my books about her. I try to share it, but it's just no words can really do it justice. When I stepped on board on A deck where the hotel check-in is, I felt at home. I felt just a sense of love and peace, an embracing sense of comfort, almost that I was so familiar with the ship like I had been there before. And so it was love at first sight.
Yeah, is
And
it
so here
possible?
we are today.
Is it possible that you are one of the former passengers in another life?
That's possible. I've thought about
Yes,
that. Yep, absolutely. I do feel I have a past life with the Titanic as well. But there's, and yeah, I've talked to so many former crew and passengers, war brides, even some veterans that sailed on during the war as troops. And there are so many people that have said there's nothing like the Queen Mary. There's something about the Queen Mary. Captain Treasure Jones, who brought the ship into Long Beach, said that I'm paraphrasing his quote, she has a personality. She's unlike any other ship I've commanded. It's almost catering to the strong theory that the Queen Mary is sentient and is intelligent. And I believe that. I absolutely do.
How many different spirits have been identified on the Queen Mary?
I think it's hard to know. Now, the late Peter James was a resident paranormal investigator there for many years. Of course, he's not with us anymore. He coined around 600 to 700, I believe.
Holy cow.
But here's the thing, and this is my opinion. I'm either right or wrong. You know, who am I really? But in my belief, the Queen Mary, with going with the notion that she's sentient herself, and then you have her human energies and even animal energies. There's a beautiful interplay between the connection between the ship as like almost a giant spirit and the human and animal spirits there. So I think they play off of each other. I'm going off tangent. What was your question again?
No, it's quite all right. It's quite all right. I mean,
I was going to say something and I just forgot what I was going to say going on that, but oh well. But yeah.
No, my question was, what drew you to, your interest in the Queen Mary?
It just came from just that first time, and then I started going and staying on board, and then I started heavily researching the ship. I've researched her construction, her plans, her history, you name it, even her paranormal phenomena over the years. I've done many paranormal investigations on board. My books, I'm working on a fourth one now that's gonna be published, I think, sometime in September. So I just love the Queen Mary with all my heart. Absolutely.
Who's the most famous spirit on board the Queen Mary?
I would say, and I'm not going to say his name just out of respect for the family, but there was a young 18-year-old man from Skipton, North Yorkshire, who joined the Queen Mary. It was in March of 1966 as a bilge cleaner and fireman. He sadly passed away on July 10th, 1966. And I don't know if I have time to share the whole story, but anyways, he was found crushed in watertight door 13. Absolutely a tragic accident. Absolutely a tragic act, at least in my opinion. And so he's one of the most beloved. Little Jackie on board, the young 6 to 7 year old girl who's known commonly for the former first and third class pool. She's well known. Some people, and myself included, might think there's two versions of her, almost like a psychokinetic version, because she's so well known, as well as just her being real. I do think she's real. So those two, but there are so many. There's documented, obviously, deaths on board, tragically, but the Queen Mary, I think this is what I was going to say. She's such a beacon for spiritual energy. I think she attracts it. When you think about the items that were built, that she was built with, the woods, the iron, sitting in water, all these theories, but just the history itself, she's like this constant transmitter and receiver of energy. And so she may attract energies that come through. Maybe they stay a while and then they go, who knows?
Well, would that not mean that all ships out there that are constructed the same way that the RMS Queen Mary is are also in the same category as far as receivers, transmitters, and, magnets of the paranormal?
There is something about ships. There really is something about ships. But in my opinion, there's something so special with the Queen Mary, and I don't know if any of us can really pinpoint it exactly, but her career, I mean, no other ship in the world has had a career like the Queen Mary.
What was her career like?
Oh my God. She's a ship of peace. So she bridged the old world with the new, brought people together, was constructed in 1934, maiden voyage in May of 1936, a luxurious ocean liner that sailed the North Atlantic route from Southampton to New York City via Cherbourg. Cunard at that time wanted to build 2 superliners because at that time there was a lot of different competition between shipping companies. And then due to her size and speed, she was requisitioned for World War II and had a stellar career as a troop ship. Winston Churchill and others have said that her efforts, along with her sister, have lessened the war by about a year. So she saves lives. She bridges people together. She's what I would call a humanitarian emissary, so to speak. And just after the war, resumed her ocean liner days and retired in Long Beach in '67. And she's a museum, hotel.
My goodness.
There's all kinds of events going on. It's just and I'm just tip of the iceberg here, but an impeccable, if you delve into her history, good Lord, what an impeccable career.
Explanation, our guest this hour is Nicole D. Strickland, and if you go to her website, you can find a lot there, and she's published several books and articles which are listed on her website at www.NicoleDStrickland.com, and on Facebook, facebook.com/Nicole D. Strickland. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you on the CanCon Broadcast Network and your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca. And we'll be back on the other side of this short break as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone with our guest this hour, once again, Nicole D. Strickland.
From the forest deep to the ocean foam, they built a world and they made it home, with books of magic and hearts untamed, changing the world in the old God's name. Oh. Shadows move where no one stands beneath the northern light. Every province tells a tale, every town hides one. When the midnight clock strikes 12, the hunting has begun. Creepy Canada, where the ghost stories never die. Beneath the maple leaves, strange secrets multiply. From haunted ships to phantom trains, from castles old and grand, you never know who's walking right beside you in this haunted land. Creepy Canada, hear the whispers in the night. The legends still are living in the pale moonlight.
Nicole D. Strickland is our guest. www.NicoleDStrickland.com and on Facebook /Nicole D. Strickland. Nicole, what has been your most challenging paranormal investigation that you and your team have faced?
Oh my gosh, that's an on-the-spot question. I have to, oh man. Oh, well, I have a couple here.
All right, there you go.
Well, I'll share one because it's a little different.
Okay.
You hear people talk about, okay, before you go on a paranormal investigation, make sure that you have a map of the location and that you know the potential dangerous spots and all of that. You want to make sure that at least someone's CPR certified and you have first aid and all of that. Okay, so one night, and I've shared this before, I don't know if I've done it on X Zone, but this was 2010, and this was in Oceanside, California, about 30 minutes north of San Diego. And we investigated a restaurant up there. And this restaurant was actually located on a Native American burial ground, so to speak. I think, well, pretty much all of Southern California, you could, say that. But we were about 2 hours into the investigation, 6 people, 2 teams of 3. I was downstairs in the bar area, and it was just us after hours. obviously with the manager there. And two-way radio, one of the investigators from upstairs chimes in and says, guys, stay where you are. This place has just been robbed. And so what ended up happening is two guys came through the kitchen armed with guns, and they were trying to steal money. I guess that was what I heard. So the police arrived. They detained us in case they needed to ask us questions. We had our permission form signed and all of that. Helicopters flying around. They even brought dogs in there. So luckily we weren't killed. Luckily none of, the manager wasn't killed. But yeah, things like that could potentially happen.
My goodness.
Yeah, another one, we were doing a private residence investigation out in Alpine. This was years ago, like almost 20 years ago. And we were in the middle of doing investigation of this client's house. Two of the client's relatives, I believe it was the husband and two kids, were out driving back from somewhere. And they were in a severe accident, all had to be taken to the hospital. And so things like that can happen. Obviously, we stopped what we were doing and tried to help the client as much as we could, but no one died, thank God. But see, you just never know. Those aren't paranormal challenges per se, but they're just regular challenges that can arise.
What did the police say when they started asking you guys questions like, what are you doing here? And how did they react to the fact that you were paranormal investigators?
They didn't actually have to question us, but when they did meet us, I, being team lead and everything, I said, we're here. We have permission to be here on the premises. I showed our permission form and all of that. And they basically just said, stay where you are. We might need to ask some questions, maybe because they thought maybe we were witnesses or something like that. But as it ended up, they didn't really, need us for any questions, but we were detained for about 2 hours and then it was fine. But yeah, scary.
How do you address skeptics who argue that the paranormal has no scientific basis and that it's all a bunch of woo-woo?
In my opinion, there's obviously a difference between a skeptic and a cynic. I think a healthy dose of skepticism is needed in all of us who investigate the paranormal. But it is not my place to prove to you or try to convince you of paranormal phenomena existence. This is not my place. And so all I can do is just maybe share my thoughts, but I certainly am not going to get in a back and forth debate, because really, if someone is so staunchly not a believer, then it's not my place to change their mind.
How do you feel about the new paratourism industry that's thriving in Canada and the United States?
I think it's beneficial, but yet it can be a detriment if it's treated like a circus. And if people are going in with negative mindsets or just wanting to thrill seek as opposed to really learn about the paranormal. Pros are obviously learning about the site's history, and hopefully there's some education there regarding paranormal phenomena. But, on those lines, you have a lot of these YouTube channels, and I'm the last person to criticize, but some of these channels promote the fear aspect and make it sound that what we do is nothing but, scary and terrifying. And they bring in the horror aspect, which I think should be kept separate from investigating the paranormal. And then in the process, they misrepresent the site's history and misrepresent the paranormal phenomena there in the process. So I think tourism can do that too. But so I just, you look at it from pros and cons, but I think it can be beneficial if it's done correctly.
Here you are in San Diego, and we're broadcasting, my goodness, last count I was told is over 150 countries.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
That's amazing.
That's why I'm tired at the end of the night.
I bet.
All the running I do.
bet.
No, but how can listeners around the world know how to seek out a reputable paranormal investigation team if they believe that their house is haunted and they need help? How do they weed out the fakes compared to the legitimate like yourself and your team.
Absolutely. How many minutes do we have left?
We've got about 4 minutes.
Okay. I would say first and foremost, go with your intuition, go with your gut. I don't say judge a book by its cover, but oftentimes the website can give you a glimpse if it appears overly creepy and just unprofessional and there doesn't seem to be substance on it. What I'm referring to is documented experience from the team, maybe articles or documented knowledge that they know what they're doing. I would say maybe avoid those. But websites that you do come across where it seems like, okay, this team has experience. They have some interesting articles. They've investigated these locations. If you see that, then I would contact the team. It's okay to, and I would say, you know, how a team can interview clients. You can interview the team and start asking them questions. Look, get your objectives and what you want down, what you would like a team to do. And then if you find a few that you like, ask them questions and just go with your feel on that. Maybe look to see if they've, have any, not media appearing, no, not anything like that, but if there's reviews from other clients, things like that. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, a lot of the sites that that are less than credible look hokey.
They do, and then they bring the horror aspect into it. It's not Halloween, people, okay?
But that raises a question. Like the Waverly, every paranormal group that I've ever had on the show or paranormal investigator has gone there.
I know, me too. I've been there too.
Why do the spirits stay there? Is it because they enjoy the interaction with humans? Or is it because they just figure, here we go again?
Well, it's probably that, especially for some of the intelligent ones. And this can be said for a lot of other locations that have been inundated with investigators. But with Waverly, and again, I've only gone once, so it's not like I've done a study there. But I think there's a lot of residual activity as well. But if for the intelligent energies there, it's probably like, okay, here we go. Same types of questions, things of that nature. And then you have to sift through what is almost like a forced haunt versus what's authentically there without the investigator's influence. So,
something that has always amazed me are EVPs.
Oh, gosh, I know.
Now, what I can't understand is whether you're using an analog or a digital recorder, you don't hear the spirit until you play back.
Right.
How come? How does that work? Like I'm in the business. I can't figure it out.
I don't think any of us can. I'm not even sure if we're supposed to know that. But I really don't have an answer for that. Is it possible that maybe it would be audible, but maybe we couldn't hear it at that time? You know, as opposed to disembodied voices where we do hear. Not all of those are captured. Sometimes for me, I'll hear something, but it's not captured. But yet I won't hear something, but yet it's captured. It's just, it's weird.
I like what you said that maybe we shouldn't know. Maybe there are mysteries that we're supposed to keep checking out, trying to establish, trying to understand, trying to solve.
Exactly. I feel that way. Yeah, absolutely.
We've got about 40 seconds. So first of all, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you, where they can find your books, and all the great things that you do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's always
Anytime.
a pleasure to come on the show. So my website, NicoleDStrickland.com, and I spell my name Nicole. So that's my main website. I also have afterlifechronicles.com. That's for my show, Afterlife Chronicles. It's on hiatus, but I'll be bringing it back. And then social media, Facebook, Nicole D. Strickland, Instagram, author Nicole Strickland. I just did TikTok. I'm not that active on it, but that is Nicole D. Strickland and the number 2.
Nicole D. Strickland, thank you so much for joining us. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet here in the X Zone, my dear friend.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And watch out for those frogs, and horses.
Right, exactly.
Exonation, I'll be back on the other side of this break as hour number 2 of the X-Zone commences right after this news break at the top of the hour. I'm Rob McConnell. This is the CanCon Broadcast Network, and you're also listening to us on your hometown radio, Classic 1220 CFAJ AM, streaming us at classic1220.ca.
The screaming tunnel calls your name on a cold Niagara night, and shadows move where no one stands beneath the northern light. Every province tells a tale, every town hides one. When the midnight clock strikes 12, the heart